We got another video about y'all boy, Officer Tatum. Hey man, real quick, the views that expressed in the video I am reacting to is the views of the person who's made that video. I personally do not follow Officer Tatum's content, so I don't personally know if this stuff is true or false. All I can say is certain things I have heard and haven't heard about, well, I have heard on both sides of him that I can say my opinion. I heard he's strict on crime and he's strict on black accountability, which is a plus for me. The minuses I heard about him is that he never seems to be neutral with anything. Everything is always against the black person, and it seems like they say he's trying to, you know, showboat for the white demographic. Is that true or not? Is that how I feel? I don't know. We are exploring together. So give me that, man, give me that piece of, you know, that leeway or something. Y'all just be coming in the comments that's snapping on me. But anyway, we jumping down to going to the celebrity junk with O'Shea Duke Jackson. He got a video called Officer Tatum is Going Out. Sadly, oh boy, it's gonna have the comment section already spewing. Let's go ahead and jump in this video. Let's get it.
Recently, I have been talking about Brandon Tatum, and it's not that I hate Brandon Tatum, okay? I have talked to Brandon Tatum before. I've interviewed Brandon Tatum before. I'm not the kind of YouTuber that likes to, you know, somebody I've interviewed before just try to assassinate them. Unfortunately, Brandon Tatum, for about the last 5 to 6 years, it's just gone off such a to the wide end. I ain't got no choice, okay? And so the problem that Brandon Tatum is lost. Brandon Tatum will do anything to appease white people at their behest in order to make blacks look inferior. That's the problem.
I said, but I don't know if it's true.
At first, when I was interviewing black conservatives, they were just disgruntled with the black community and where the community was going or how they had been treated in the past. I can deal with that. What I cannot deal with is just outright what I consider to be bootlicking. And this is the path that...
And that's literally what I'm saying. Like, the older I get, I'm getting close to that black conservative thing, but it will never be shucking and jiving for the white man. No offense against them. Hey, we all human. We all equal. Everybody breathe the same air. We bleed the same blood. There's no what it's, but it's self-improvement, holding our people accountable, and us to pull ourselves up for the bootstraps and to get better. It's not going against them. Hey, like I always say on here, a lot of my family are married to other people and other races, darker than me and lighter than me. So it ain't none of that. But we need to improve ourselves. But no, we not going clown around for other people.
Owens has went. The only person that doesn't do it, at least at all, or to this level, and don't get me wrong, you know, Anthony Brown Logan's my boy, but Anthony Brown Logan, he has the only person that I see that if something ain't right, he'll call it out. The rest of them don't do that. Now, let me talk about this interview that he had with Stephen A. Smith. And Stephen A. Smith asked him an interesting question. The question revolved around the whole idea of Donald Trump trying to remove or limit black history. Here was Brandon Tatum's response.
Is it acting in good faith if you throwing out 4 or 5 different executive orders, scaling back our connection to black history, like with the Smithsonian Museum and other things where those executive orders were being put out there? You've got black folks that feel like this man is trying to detach us from black history, from the world knowing just as much as we've always known about black history, or the more that we should know. When you hear about things like that, is that really looking out for our best interest, or is it looking out for his?
Sure. Right,
Stephen A., if it was correct that Donald Trump was trying to eliminate black history from the Smithsonian or history in general, trying to degrade black existence, I would never support that dude a day in my life. I'll get on your show right now and say, screw that guy. And I don't support him, or I'll never vote for him. The problem is that it's a conflation, and some people have a vested interest in saying things that may not necessarily be true. There is no evidence that Donald Trump is trying to eliminate black history. It's impossible to eliminate black history. It is impossible. Our stamp is on everything that exists. You can't change that just because, even if you tried to do it through the Smithsonian, that's not the only place where history is espoused. I mean, or exposed. Right. That's not the only place that history can be learned. We still teach black history in college. We still got HBCUs. You can still go online right now and learn anything you want to learn about history. But the truth is, he's not doing that at the Smithsonian. What happened is they're not telling the full story. They're telling a story that seems to be biased against white people and making it seem like white people just they created slavery. White people was the only people that owned slaves in America. White people, you know, it's this whole anti-white sentiment that's not the full projection of what history was. There were a lot of black people that owned slaves. The first legal slave owner in the United States history was a black man, Anthony Johnson. So, and we can go down the list. People don't know much about Harriet Tubman. They didn't know that she was married to a black man who was a free black man at the time when she started the Underground Railroad. Actually, her husband told her that not to do it, which now he looked like a coward for doing.
On the surface level, that doesn't seem too bad. But
yeah, before he even get into that, I want to say that too. If that's them points alone, I fully agree. We are learning together, people. Everything he said, I fully agree with. I didn't know. I think I have heard that Harriet Tubman was married, which I don't see how that changed. They actually seem like she's sacrificing more that she's married. I don't know about the first slave. I heard that is a very contradicting thing, but we ain't gonna get into all that. But I agree. Being fair, y'all be jumping down on me. I am being fair.
then
Jesus.
let's talk about this.
But you know, think of how does that work? You know, all the black people that own black slaves, the Juneteenth. And this is the things that I'm like, why is this not in the Smithsonian? And Juneteenth, people think that Juneteenth, being that in Galveston, Texas, was the last remnant of the black slaves that were released and freed. That wasn't true. It wasn't until a year later that the Choctaw Indian finally released their slaves. Indians own slaves. So when we talk about slavery, when we talk about all this, we have to talk about it in the context of reality, or we develop hatred and misinformation. Slavery wasn't about race. Anybody that learned or studied slavery, I studied Africana studies when I was in college. Slavery was not about race. Slavery was about availability of cheap labor. Most of the slaves went to South America. Not most of them didn't even come to America. The North didn't have slaves. Only the South had slaves. We fought a war, the Civil War. The portion of the United States that never have slaves, that black people were free in the colonies, they won the war. So,
Okay.
you know, it's a lot of nuance there, Stephen A.
Understood.
Who helped Harriet Tubman free the black people from slavery? It was white folks. You know, so there's a lot of history there that I think that Donald Trump is trying to correct to make sure that we're not overemphasizing hatred towards one group when it's not necessary. But if Donald Trump was doing it, I wouldn't support him whatsoever. I think black people need to stop listening to naysayers online and people who have a vested interest to hate the man. Go look at it for yourself. Go look at what Donald Trump is trying to do at the Smithsonian. Go look at it. Go read it. People don't read what he's trying to remove.
So
He had to throw out something that I felt was so disingenuous. We never talk about the blacks that own slaves. What about the blacks that own
Right.
slaves? And
I was just about to say that. That doesn't change history, because yes, that's true. And then of course there were slaves in Africa. So no, we all know that that's not the point. The point of Juneteenth is the celebration, just like the point of Juneteenth is July 4th. Everyone, when they created July 4th of July, and this is to be paraphrased, and I'm not a history buff, but they were celebrating their independence from another nation. U.S. became its own, officially became its own nation. But at the time, you still had people in the nation that wasn't free. Juneteenth is implement that, okay, this is the time we were free. Now we're free. Not saying the Indians, yes, the Indians may have to, just like Mexican Independence Day that I just celebrated last weekend. They're just marking points of history when each individual ethnic group was free. This Juneteenth marks the black slaves in America are all free at that particular moment. Everything else past and before that not say it doesn't matter, but it's not talk about what the date is, that particular day, what that day is for.
And I'm sitting here listening to this, and I'm thinking about, yeah, okay, you might not talk about that, but let's talk about something else, okay? Remember Michael Robinson, the Simi Valley teen last month that got beat up out there by them white kids? I covered the story. I'm quite balanced. I mean, I'm for the black community, but I see black people doing something, I'll call it out. You never talked about that. It was a racialized crime. They called him the N-word. You didn't talk about it. None of you other guys talked about it. But you purposely brought up the fact that blacks own slaves. Okay, how many percentage of blacks own slaves? Because if whites want to argue and say most whites didn't own slaves, all right, let's say that's true. But all whites benefited from white supremacy, even if you didn't own a slave. Whites benefit from white supremacy now. So tell me, in the same vein, If blacks owned slaves, how many was it? What were their names? Okay? What were their names? And guess what? Listen to what I'm about to tell you. How did it help other blacks? Did other blacks benefit from that slavery? And the only reason why he says that is to put blacks down. And ultimately, I'm gonna tell you what you're gonna get.
That's what kind of
all blacks need to understand this. You don't get no respect. Okay? Let me tell you something that I regret. I did earlier in my life. And this is hard for me to admit, but I was lost. Okay? I was not where I'm at now in the community. Okay? This is O'Shea young. Okay? I worked at a very big company. There was a Filipino guy that was working with me at the company. Very popular amongst the staff. Had to be in the early 2000s. I think like.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it here. I don't want to eat up his story because I want you guys to go check this video out. I just want to address the Officer Tatum part, but I feel like he got some real good gems. I'm definitely gonna listen to this one off camera, but I want y'all to go check it out, so I'm gonna link it down below. But like I say, I'm studying. I'm trying to get what you call. Officer Tatum has some good points, but it's just kind of like it overshadows the objective of certain things. Yes, everything you stated was true, but it didn't have to be mentioned there because it's not what we talking about, if that make any sense. But hey, I'm on the journey of learning, man. Y'all put down below what y'all think. Of course, go check the rest of the video out. O'Shea be dropping some jewels. I just don't like to eat up the man whole video, man. We learn together, man. It's all say the good group. Nobody's great. Nobody's the best at this side or that side. It's just trying to learn. That's what I'm trying to do here, man. If y'all made this far in the video, hit like and subscribe to your boy. Cost y'all nothing, but does so much for me and my family, man. I appreciate y'all, man. Put it down below, man. If y'all got any links to some, you know, decent content y'all want to check out about Officer Tatum. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to be fair in these YouTube streets, man. I appreciate y'all, man. Peace!